welcome to Dharma Podcast, everyone. What caught our attention this time was the gentleman Kamal Haasan. He's in the news for all the wrong reasons again, thanks to his movie called A Thug Life. And the name itself is an abject display of lack of imagination. And he waded into language issues, not only creating this weird title. And that is when, in our conversation behind the scenes with Sandeep, we realize he has a trajectory of embarrassment, always tending to exceed his brief. So, look upon this conversation with Sandeep as we bring him in as a classy roast of Kamal Haasan, the one and only Kamal Haasan. Hi, Sandeep.
Hi, Parag.
So, Kamal Haasan has invited himself for a roast with you. This is the sense I get for the conversation that will ensue. Let's start with Thug Life, and then if you could, regale us with 60 years of his tendency to exceed his brief. Let's go down that path, shall we?
Yeah, sure, Parag. Well, I quite like the fact that you selected his latest disaster called Thug Life to begin this roast, a classy roast, like you said. You see, my problem is a problem of plenty. Kamal Haasan, over the course of his 60 years of filmography, has given us so much of material to roast him that it won't fit one episode. But let's see where this takes us, since this is like an informal, casual kind of a conversation. Let's see where the conversation itself will lead us. So, Thug Life, the movie title itself is rather outlandish, it's rather bizarre, even for a Tamil movie. The exact English translation, the exact Tamil translation of Thug Life is Porukki Valkai. So, those who understand Tamil will get the impact of the translation. It was touted to be, this great coming together, reunion of the great Mr. Maniratnam and the great Mr. Kamal Haasan, who last worked about 38 years ago. 1987 was their maiden collaboration in that rather cheap copy of a global blockbuster called Godfather. So, Nayagan. So, the producer of Nayagan, Mr. Mukta Srinivasan, he has rather juicy things to say about Mr. Kamal Haasan, but we are getting ahead of ourselves. So, there are primarily three parts to Mr. Kamal Haasan's career, such as it is. The first is his rather glorious career. It is glorious career as an actor, spanning 6 decades. And the second is his rather not so hidden career as a director. His full-fledged role as a director was in an eminent dud, a thorough disaster called Hey Ram. That is such a horrible movie that Kamal Haasan felt it necessary to show his face in every single frame. 3 hours of complete torture. It's a miracle how the audience back then went home out of the theater with their sanity intact. It's that bad. And by the way, the title Hey Ram and the movie itself is a thinly disguised attack against the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh.
Okay.
Yes. So in that movie, Kamal Haasan is everything to everyone. So he's the avenging angel. His full name is Saket Ram Iyengar, a Tamil Iyengar Brahmin who lives in Calcutta. And then his wife is killed by a Muslim mob. That infamous direct action day. So then he becomes an avenging angel, and then he's shown the error of his ways by collaborating with quote unquote Hindu extremist organizations. And then he also becomes a Gandhian. And in the movie, There are deep and pseudo profound deliberations of Kamal Haasan, the intellectual. Like I said, he's everything to everyone, basically. So, which leads us to the two other facets of Mr. Kamal Haasan. This one is as an actor and as a director. In real life, he also tries to be an intellectual, pretends to be an intellectual, and he's been a politician. He's in direct politics for the last 10 years or something. So, how does one unpack all these profound threads of God's gift to intellectualism, of
Self-anointed.
Tamil Nadu's gift to Indian politics, of philosophy's gift to everything under the sun? He's everything at the same time. He's a philosopher. He can talk extensively about Hindu Dharma, about atheism, about secularism, about Tamil heritage, about Dashavataram, about jurisprudence, and his latest avatar is that of a linguist. There is nothing he doesn't know, Parag.
I recall that there was this Chola debate that he waded into, and you were, I think, on Times Now or Republic. I remember.
Yeah, I was.
Actually, neutralizing that nonsense that he uttered. Correct?
Yeah.
It was one of the.
Yeah.
Fine. Sorry. You may want to repeat that as well.
Yeah, I mean, look, the point. Yeah, he's a historian. He's everything, sir. He's omniscient.
Omniscient.
The creator sent him down to this earth, and then Kamal opened his eyelashes when he was a boy, when he was an infant, and the world was created.
Oh, okay.
So he's everything to everyone. But at this age, over the last, it would have been fine if he had stuck to his expertise, which is cinema, more specifically acting. There is no doubt that he's one of the finest actors that India has ever produced. But what happens is that your fame, your popularity as an actor, as an alleged method actor, whatever adjectives you want to add, you can add. All these bring in some sort of an illusion that you are omniscient. That's why Kamal created the world. So when you take that seriously, and he's a well-connected man. His real name, by the way, is Shri Parthasarathy Srinivasan.
Oh, is that so?
Yeah. Okay. His father was a lawyer and he had dabbled in the Indian freedom struggle. Okay. South of southern part of Tamil Nadu. Paramakudi is where his father, lived and practiced and did his freedom struggle thing. All good. Obviously, in those days, only congressmen were freedom fighters, and they took an active role in political activity. These things are well known. So, from there till here, he started as a child actor in a movie called Kalattur Kannamma. He was 6 years old or something when he acted in that, and then he got he immersed himself in cinema. But at this age, he has kind of become a parody of himself. And when he began to get on stage, roughly about 30 years ago, and began to wax eloquent about everything, show me one alleged intellectual speech or interview of Kamal Haasan where he actually makes sense. Half the time you don't even understand the Tamil diction that he speaks in. He just rambles on and on about everything under the sun, like I said. So, today, the fate and the sorry spectacle, the caricature that he has reduced himself into, Kamal Haasan stands as a great warning and as a live demonstration of a timeless truth that is applicable to public figures. Do not become that person. Do not become that person whom the public is forced to tolerate in your old age because Kamal Haasan, like many of his counterparts in other fields, he has been waging a lifelong war against time, reality, and sanity.
And what entities to pick? A losing battle anyway.
Exactly. Because you see, Parag, at a deep level, life is priceless, ideology is porous, politics is fleeting and dispensable. So he's what, 70 plus now, and this is, he still wants to go around, smooching women who are almost young enough to be his granddaughters.
You mentioned politics. He started his own political party also.
Yeah, Makkal Needi Mayam or something.
And that went nowhere.
Yeah, it's become a kind of a appendage or an extension counter of the DMK.
Oh, okay.
That's what it's become.
Okay.
And both Kamal Haasan and Mani Ratnam, because the context is thug life, largely speaking, both of these are veteran cinema people, and both have failed to grasp an important reality. The fact that two entire generations have grown up since the peak of their stardom had vanished.
Ah.
Like I said, waging a war against reality and time. Because the space, the line separating veteran and irrelevant is extremely thin. It's invisible. Look at all the people, old men and women, public figures, who somehow desperately want to remain relevant. This is against a culture, because in the Purushartha thing, the third Purushartha is Vanaprastha, that you realize that your time is up. Hand over your family, your wealth, your whatever legacy to your children, retire gracefully, then you will earn more respect.
So retiring gracefully has eluded him.
Yeah, eluded him. He could have sat in, he could have really elevated himself to a pedestal, by grooming younger generations and not, doing on-screen bashing and, firing with machine guns and, like I said,
I saw that movie.
romancing
Weird.
and smooching all these young girls. Look at Rajinikanth. He realized, that his time was over very long back. So although he acts in some mindless masala movies, he actually knows his stature, and he doesn't want to kind of destroy it.
And he doesn't pontificate on every issue under the sun.
Exactly. So now let's come back to Kamal Haasan and his body of filmography. And what strikes us is that his whole range of filmography, it covers the whole spectrum from the outstanding to the outlandish. Until Nayagan was a turning point of sorts in his career. It was a big blockbuster. Like I said, it deserves a separate treatment. But until Nayagan, he had delivered his best work under some of the masters of Indian cinema. For example, K. Balachandar, his mentor, his guru, who actually, fine-tuned his talent and gave him some awesome movies. And then you have Sangeetam Srinivasa Rao, amazing guy. In the 80s, he shot Pushpak or Pushpaka Vimana.
Yeah, I saw.
It is a mute film, silent movie. This was in the era of color and,
Ahead of
80s. Awesome movie.
Awesome, absolutely.
Quite profound also. Then you have another stalwart director of Indian cinema, K. Vishwanath. These people, really molded him. They sculpted some of his finest work in his filmography. Now, there is until he was under their check, he could not play around, he could not interfere, he could not fool around with such directors. They would not allow him. He could not take liberties like he did with directors in the later era. So, if someone like K. Vishwanath, who's given, two of his finest movies, Sagara Sangamam and Swati Mutyam, both are in Telugu. If K. Vishwanath could not, cure him back to sanity, then nobody else could.
Nobody is capable.
So this we have to kind of keep in mind. And like I said, now we'll come back to his 1987 blockbuster Nayagan, which was his first collaboration with Mani Ratnam. And this movie, although it was a commercial hit, it was actually panned by many critics, honest film critics of that era. But the film criticism apart, there have been serious, not allegations, there have been serious exposes made by the very producer of Nayagan, a gentleman named Srinivasan. So, as Nayagan's shooting progressed, Srinivasan's blood pressure shot up.
Oh.
And on the 25th anniversary of Nayagan, Kamal Haasan wrote a long piece a long essay in the Hindu newspaper, where obviously he praised himself, and then he praised Mani Ratnam, and the whole movie, waxed eloquent and went into nostalgic raptures. But he also did something else in that article. He dishonestly accused the producer of being a miser.
Oh, 20 years after the
25 years
25
after the movie was released, and he called him tight-fisted. And Srinivasan was around when Kamal wrote this dishonest essay, and he gave a solid rebuttal. I'll read out a couple of excerpts from Srinivasan's article. Quote: Kamal Haasan wanted the film to be shot at Dharavi, which was the largest and the most congested slum in Asia. I did not want to shoot the entire movie in Bombay, not because I was tight-fisted as Kamal claims. Okay, coming straight from the horse's mouth. Then he says, after 25 years, Kamal Haasan has suddenly chosen to talk about it, distorting the facts for reasons best known to him, and undermining the contributions made by everyone. Mani Ratnam was not interested in bringing in either a Hollywood stuntman or a makeup man. I felt that Velu Nayakar, the character of Kamal, Underworld Don, Velu Nayakar did not need a Hollywood makeup man and a costumer. In fact, it was Kamal Haasan's idea to bring such people in. Our company had a makeup man and costumers who were all paid by me. To state that there was no budget for the makeup and costumes is absurd. The budget for the film was initially estimated at 60 lakh. However, it became over budget with expenses crossing 1 crore, which is where we'll pause and look at a deep-seated element in Kamal Haasan's psyche. His deracination, his incurable fascination, addiction for Hollywood as a benchmark for excellence in cinema, which is not true at all. So Kamal, like people of that generation, his psyche was deeply colonized. Now, you should watch some of his movies in that era when he was at his peaks. There is some kind of a weird obsession with speaking in English with a bizarre accent that does not exist in even anywhere on this earth, even in English-speaking countries.
Even the English world. Huh?
Yeah. So, this strange urge to prove something. That's what you notice in all those movies. And this is why he forced producers to, this guy in Nayagan, one of the stuntman or a set artist or a makeup guy, he used to charge 2 lakh rupees per day. 87 per day. Kamal Haasan, being fascinated, addicted to this Hollywood thing, flew them down. Their stay, their flight tickets, their accommodation, plus their professional expertise and, other technical equipment, things like that. It costed a bomb. So, this is hilarious. What Srinivasan says. Mani Ratnam would have come up with a better scene had Kamal not insisted on copying from The Godfather. Okay. The scene where Kamal Haasan cries on seeing the dead body of his son is copied from The Godfather and he imitates Marlon Brando. You watch it, maybe we'll do a separate, in-depth analysis of Nayagan some other day. Okay. This scene was booed by the audience. Okay. Then finally, Mr. Srinivasan says, Kamal Haasan did not act in my movie for free. He was paid a huge sum amounting to almost 20% of the original budget in those days.
Very high.
How much is 20% of 60 lakhs? Do the math. The tragedy is that I did not make any profit. The producer takes the entire risk and his contribution cannot be undermined. G. Venkateshwaran, Maniratnam's elder brother, bought the negative rights only after I had sold all the areas. Look at the sick games these guys play. But he insisted that he would put his name as producer and receive the awards that the movie got.
We did that?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I had to agree since I had suffered a loss even after selling all the areas. Had it not been for Ilayaraja and Lenin, who was the editor of the movie, had it not been for them, the movie would have flopped. I have nothing against Kamal Haasan taking credit for the success of Nayagan, but not at my cost, please.
Absolutely.
These are the horrendous games people play. And public persona is entirely something else. And did Kamal stop, with all these games with just Nayagan? No. He repeated the same feat at a much, much, much more expensive scale. This time, it was with a movie called Alavandan. It was simultaneously shot or dubbed into Hindi called Abhay. Remember?
Yeah, I'm trying to recall. The
This
name and title is
was
familiar.
This was released in 2001. What it did in one shot, it completely ruined the producer. Was known as a very expensive producer, making high budget movies. I'll tell you how it ruined him with numbers. The initial budget for the movie was 2 crores. The initial budget was for the movie was 7 crores, but it shot up to a humongous amount of 25 crores. You know how much it collected after it was released? 2 crores.
2 crores. Oh my God.
1/10. And the movie was a complete disaster at the box office. And one reviewer, I think he wrote this in Rediff if I'm not mistaken, he was like really brutal. And this is what he says. The film falls flat on its face because of its failure in the two most important departments of filmmaking, script writing and direction. It almost seems as if Kamal Haasan and Suresh Krishna, the director, were high on drugs while making the film. Evidently, you can't watch it beyond 5 or 10 minutes.
Unbearable, I guess.
Insufferable, really. So, if this is a story of Mr. Kamal Haasan, Mr. Perfect, as an actor, now we'll explore his story when he puts on the makeup and becomes an intellectual who's trying to sound profound about everything, like I mentioned about Hindu philosophy, atheism, history, communism, secularism, Periarism, jurisprudence, global international affairs, geopolitics, everything under the sun. So let's explore some facets of this side of Mr. Kamal Haasan, the actor. So when Kamal Haasan, the actor, becomes Kamal Haasan, the intellectual, the first thing we have to do is to run towards safety. But to give credit to Mr. Kamal Haasan, his brand of politics, it defies both description and sanity. For example, Kamal Haasan is a Brahmin who is also a worshipper of E.V. Ramaswamy Nayakar, the same E.V. Ramaswamy Nayakar who openly called for a genocide of Brahmins. So this man is a devotee of EVR. Then Mr. Kamal Haasan is also a left-wing atheist who once openly declared that left leaders are my heroes. And he said that left-wing leaders are my heroes without naming a single left-wing hero. That's a long list of heroes, including but not limited to mass murderers like Lenin, Stalin, Mao, Pol Pot, Che Guevara, and Fidel Castro. Very clever, no?
Very clever.
Then, in 2017, he proclaimed that he spotted a sympathetic soul in the form of Mr. Arvind Kejriwal, the greatest actor of Indian politics. Yes, he invited him home for lunch in Madras, and then they had a long discussion. And Kamal gave a press conference where he said that, I sincerely seek to work with Mr. Arvind Kejriwal because he shares my ideals and my we are on the same wavelength and the rest of the nice things.
So I endorse him and all that.
Yeah. And in a even much earlier interview, he told the interviewer, I think it was with NDTV if I'm not wrong, he told the interviewer that there was no underworld mafia in Tamil Nadu. Why? Because all the underworld dons were sitting in the Tamil Nadu secretariat. And therefore, there was no space for Mr. Clean, Mr. Intellectual called Kamal Haasan in politics.
Oh.
He said this openly.
Modesty.
Oh, totally. That is not his forte. Then let's fast forward to 2017. The Hindu interviewed him this time, and he told the interviewer that I will risk everything to serve the people by cleansing politics. This is the same man who had earlier declared that there is no space for me in politics because the mafia is in the Madras Secretariat. Now he wants to get into politics to serve the people by cleansing politics. But the only vehicle of serving the people is nothing less than the chief minister's chair.
Nothing below that works.
Nothing below that will do for him. And in his own words, and I quote, someone has to wear the Neta's cap. It will be a crown of thorns. The pain is just emanating, Parag.
Oh.
It will be a crown of thorns. Someone has to clean the quagmire and make this place habitable for people. I'm not hungry for power, but I will seize the opportunity if that's the only way to deliver for the people. Close quote. Quite the modest man.
Yeah, and how
Quite
reluctant.
the modest man. I'm barely able to control my tears even, as I speak. So, crown of thorns, right? What does that remind you of? What does crown of thorns remind you of? It reminds you of that fateful meeting in Jaipur Chintan Shivir, which was conducted by the Congress party in 2013. In that Shivir, Mr. Rahul Gandhi told the journalists that power is poison.
Yeah, correct.
But someone has to drink it to serve the people.
No. Therefore, he poor
that
guy.
someone, that poor someone, he's almost like Mahadev, Nilakantha, who drank poison to save the
benefit
world.
of mankind,
So
yeah.
this Rahul Gandhi is the Kali Yuga's equivalent of Mahadev, born in human form. Amazing. Power is poison. I will drink it for people. Crown of thorns. I will wear it for the people. Quite amazing, no?
Yeah, quite amazing.
Yeah. Then, which brings us to Kamal Haasan, the politician. So, he started his political party in 2018. All of us know that. And the party kind of bombed it was kind of stillborn, much like his movies, which bombed repeatedly bombed over the last 2 decades. You look at those visuals of most of his rallies after he started his party, Makkal Needi Mayyam, very thinly attended rallies, and all his bouts of public speeches, they remind us precisely of what I mentioned initially in my, in the opening part of this episode, which brings us back to a French intellectual named Jean-Paul Sartre. He was known as the father of existentialism, and it's pretty much a bunch of nonsense, existentialism. Towards the end of Sartre's life, uh, he had become a pathetic figure, and a British writer named Paul Johnson, he describes, in a very vivid manner, Paul Johnson describes Jean-Paul Sartre's last days, and this is what he says, and I quote: Sartre always preferred to write nonsense rather than write nothing. He failed to achieve any kind of coherence and consistency in his views. His incontinence, his drunkenness were made possible by girls slipping him bottles of whiskey. No body of doctrine survived him. In the end, he stood for nothing more than a vague desire to belong to the left camp and the camp of the youth. Does the current state of Mr. Kamal Haasan remind you of this?
Yes, yes.
They are great examples.
Eerily similar, yeah.
They are great examples of how not to lead a fulfilling life. And the real ideology, the real brand of Kamal Haasan's politics, the great secret, was finally revealed when Mr. Kamal campaigned for the DMK in the 2024 general elections in exchange for getting a Rajya Sabha seat. So the secret was finally out. And it finally appears that this worshipper, this great devotee of E.V. Ramaswamy Nayakar, formally joined his ideological mothership.
And that's how he's got the
Rajya Sabha seat. And because we started this podcast with Thug Life or Porukki Valkai, we will conclude with the same theme. You mentioned, you set the tone for this episode with Thug Life and the consequences that followed. On the stage, this man falsely claimed that Kannada is the child of Tamil.
Yeah.
Okay. And what proof does he give for this alleged claim? He simply said that many scholars have established this fact.
Oh, that's all he said?
That's all he said.
Supporting evidence.
That's all he said. And the obvious explosion of outrage in Karnataka at this patently ignorant and fraudulent claim that has severely battered the movie's collections even before it was released. And now you had Karnataka is a lucrative market for Tamil films. So it was banned here. It was prohibited to be released here. And at least whatever little money, even 100 rupees, that he could have got. He's a co-producer, by the way. That was also extinguished. So he's got zero from Karnataka. Yet, Mr. Kamal Haasan, in the role of a courageous linguist, he remains defiant. He has refused to apologize. But he somehow felt the need to approach the Karnataka High Court. And now he's approached the Supreme Court as well.
Yeah, and from what I read earlier today is that Supreme Court has...
Supreme Court has come down on the Karnataka High Court. But, that's a tangential different topic.
Yeah.
So
he shot off the cuff, as usual, exceeding his brief, talking about language.
Absolutely. Like I said, he's an expert on everything under the sun. Now, this whole fiasco of making this stupid and ignorant claim about Kannada and Tamil. This episode reminds us of the manner in which this same Braveheart, Mr. Braveheart Kamal Haasan, how he had surrendered before the collective strength of Muslim groups in the wake of his 2013 movie, Vishwarupam.
Yes. Correct.
Remember that?
Yes.
So, back then, Mr. Kamal Haasan had initially thundered against making any cuts. In spite of the pressure that the Muslim groups brought on him, he stood defiant and he refused to make any cuts. And he gave a public statement, quote, "I will find out in a few days if this is a secular country. I need a secular place to settle. If there is no secular place in India, I would go overseas. My passport will change."
Oh, India's loss.
Amazing, man. The threat is just, I'm shivering even as I recall this. All these people, you are Anantamurthy, Kamal Haasan, all those guys who said that I will quit India, I will go to Pakistan if Modi becomes a prime minister. Quite courageous. Somehow, the courage eludes them
As soon as
the
the action
reality
time
is
comes.
shown. Yeah. Somehow, man. I mean, amazing. They built all their life and earned all their riches for the longest time. 60 years is not a small time,
Absolutely.
small period. They earned all the love, adulation, incredible wealth, everything. And what happens? Ingratitude is one of the hallmarks of left-wing politics.
Absolutely. Well said.
Simple. Okay. Now, Mr. Kamal Haasan's bravado, this great braveheart, he was able to give takkar for just a few days in the case of Vishwarupam. Because the right amount of pressure from the right places made him see the glorious light of truth, made him unambiguously understand the real meaning of Indian secularism, and armed with this great philosophical realization, Mr. Braveheart Kamal Haasan agreed to the cuts in Vishwarupam. But this time around, with regard to Vishwarupam, Mr. Kamal Haasan has been more fortunate because he can afford to remain courageous before Kannada groups. What could be the worst outcome possible? So far, the worst outcome has been a ban on thug life in Karnataka.
Correct.
Right? That kind of brings a closure, a temporary closure, to Mr. Kamal Haasan, the actor, Mr. Kamal Haasan, the director, Mr. Kamal Haasan, the incomparable intellectual, and Mr. Kamal Haasan, the Dravidian politician.
Thank you, Sandeep. Enjoyed the classy roast. I'm sure our audience also will enjoy this classy roast. Clearly, you haven't seen the last of Kamal Haasan. He's displayed only some 9 or 10 avatars. He'll embody Dashavataram very soon in his real life. So, we shall continue to watch his antics and come back with another conversation, hopefully, and he would have provided enough fodder. So, thank you all for joining Dharma Podcast. Please like, share, subscribe to the content. Please become a member and also donate so that further research and further content like this could be brought to your table.